Walker Buehler agrees with being kept off the Dodgers roster despite the lack of pitching. The Rams shut down reserve quarterback Stetson Bennett under mysterious circumstances. And the crime rate may be high in California, but Lincoln Riley says it's even scarier to be a football coach in Oklahoma. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is September 14th, 2023. We have added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia yesterday. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when it's LA sports. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Padres 6, Dodgers 1. This snaps a streak of 12 consecutive regular season series wins by LA. With the win, Slum Diego pulls to within 20 games of the first place Dodgers. So well done, fellas. Well done. Enjoy your early off season. Meanwhile, today, there's no games going on with LA teams, so I hope you all get lucky when you're swiping around on Tinder tonight. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Let's get to the news. Walker Buehler told The Athletic that one of the reasons he shut down his comeback this month was despite pitching 2 strong innings in AAA Oklahoma City, the recovery from those 2 innings was taking longer than anticipated. So he's asking himself, if that just is taking longer, what would happen if he needed more time to recover during October? Wouldn't that be detrimental to the team if they couldn't count on him? So he decided to simply return for spring training instead of trying to force a comeback for October. He admitted that his original goal of returning from a second Tommy John surgery in September was overly ambitious. Quote, "I feel like I kind of bet on a long shot horse and it ran second. I certainly don't think I came in last. I think for me, I got really, really close," unquote. Now, to give you an idea of how much Buehler was pushing himself, when you have a second Tommy John surgery, the recovery is even longer than the first. The first is supposed to take about 18 months. Buehler had been shooting for 14. So, yeah, he was going hyper aggressive. So you can imagine forcing it like that, the recovery time, I think your elbow would bark up a little bit. So, Walker Buehler not coming to the rescue. We already knew that. Now we know the reason why. Obviously, that leaves a gaping hole in the playoff rotation. But if that scares you, next season might make you ask for a second medical marijuana card just in case you wear out the first, right? Maybe you count on Buehler to start the year. He could wind up being the ace. Clayton Kershaw, free agent. Julio Urias, yikes. Tony Gonsolin missing the entire year. Dustin May will miss a big chunk of next season. Now, Lance Lynn, yeah, there's an option for him to stay in LA, but that's for an $18 million pickup. $18 million. I mean, he's been okay, but has he been $18 million worth of okay? I don't think so. So I'm very skeptical this is going to happen. I want to buffer this by saying I'm believing what I'm about to say. The Dodgers will be making moves. But if you think about it, the Dodgers rotation starting next season could be Walker Buehler as your ace with a staff of startlingly young pitchers, Bobby Miller, Ryan Pepio, Emmett Sheehan. We still wouldn't even know who the 5th would be. So I don't believe that's going to be the rotation, but it could shake out that way. I like to be honest with you guys. Sometimes I'm wrong, and frankly, sometimes I'm full of more crap than a water treatment facility, right? Take yesterday. I spent a lot of time hyping up a guy, Kyle Hurt, the relief pitcher who led the minors in strikeouts per innings. He had 145 strikeouts in 88 and a third innings in the minors. So he makes his major league debut, 2 shutout innings, struck out the side in the 9th. Everybody was like, wow, this guy is a stud. And Andrew Friedman gave him a plane ticket back to Oklahoma City. Just like that. Okay. Now, the move was made to create a spot on the roster for Joe Kelly's return. And then Kelly comes out last night, and he allowed 2 earned runs. So there's that. Not exactly comforting news. We all like Joe Kelly, but you kind of wish he could have done a little more in his return. You know what I mean? Rams reserve quarterback Stetson Bennett was placed on a non-football injury reserve list. In other words, he's not on the roster right now. The reason he was put on this list was not disclosed, but the Rams were specific. It had nothing to do with the shoulder injury that had been bothering him toward the end of training camp. This move, though, opens up a series of uncomfortable questions that will have to be asked. Even if Coach Sean McVay requests that the press respect Bennett's privacy. You know, and I understand why McVay would want that. The coach is saying that what's going on in Bennett's life is much bigger than football. Now, when you say something that's going on in your life is much bigger than the job you love, that's scary. That sounds like it's life impacting, a major impact. Quote, I'm not going to have any follow-up information or anything that I will give in that regard. I really hope that you can please respect my wishes and regards to keeping that in-house. I understand you have a job to do, but there are certain things that are a little bigger and a little more important than the particulars and the specifics. We want to keep this in-house, and that's where I want to leave it. Please. This is what McVay said. He asked nicely. He even went so far as to say, please. And I want to respect that. I do. But I have to be consistent. I've been saying this for years, way before I started this program. I think it's extremely risky to draft quarterbacks who were arrested in college. And Stetson Bennett was arrested for public intoxication in Dallas less than 1 month before he was drafted by the Rams. Now, to be clear, I'm not trying to connect the dots because I don't have any information, and I am not going to try to dig for information, right? I'm not saying that he was arrested again. I'm saying an arrest is a red flag if you're trying to draft a quarterback. I'm not saying the guy is an alcoholic. I don't know. I don't. But being drunk in public is a second red flag when it comes to drafting a quarterback. And by the way, the Rams traded up to get him, right? I mean, for Pete's sakes, at least if in the interview process, you would go, you know what? We want to draft you, but we think you need some help. The Rams told the LA Times that Bennett was vetted prior to the draft. So let's be real about this. I don't want the guy's life in danger. Nobody does. Moreover, we all hope he rises above whatever he's dealing with, whatever it is. I am not saying it's alcoholism. I don't know. I don't know. Caught drunk in public once doesn't mean you're a fall down blackout drunk. Doesn't mean you should be on an episode of Intervention, right? I have no clue. It is prudent that he takes time off, but it would have been even more prudent for the Rams not to use a 4th round pick on the guy. For Pete's sake, sports writers this summer were actually claiming that Stetson was the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. Does he look like that now? I don't know. Lincoln Riley said that after he announced he was coming to coach USC football, Oklahomans kept trying to break into his house. That's comforting. Like a good neighbor, man, that's comforting. Repeatedly, by the way, they kept trying to break into his house. I think I'm going to be real skeptical the next time people tell me how everyone in flyover country is the salt of the earth, right? How the Bible Belt just treats their neighbors with so much dignity. I mean, say what you want about me. I've placed some late night phone calls to chicks I used to date that I probably shouldn't, begging for her to take me back, but nobody ever had to file a police report on me. You know? Stare at a girl's photo? Yeah, guilty. Stare at a girl through her window? Never happened. Riley said he had to hire armed security for these creeps. He said the original plan was to have his children finish out the semester of grade school before moving to LA, and that changed kind of quickly. Oklahoma, people. You know how people say, oh, 99.9% of cops are good people, but there's just that one little percent. You know how they say that about the CIA now and the FBI and, oh, everybody, 99% of these people are just trying to do the right thing. Riley wasn't having that percentage. He dropped it to 95. No, 95%. In a city like Norman, Oklahoma, their population, if it's 95% or okay, that still rounds out to about 6,500 sickos roaming the streets of Norman, Oklahoma. And by the way, I've worked in Oklahoma recently. I get it. All those guys have to hang their hat on. The only thing that they have to hang their hat on about living in Oklahoma is race riots and football. And once you lose football, nobody's safe. Not even Caleb Williams. No wonder he hot-footed it out of Oklahoma to get to SoCal. Just saying. The NBA is trying to put the brakes on load management. The league can now fine teams starting at $100,000 for resting star players during nationally televised games, for example. This is according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, a star player, NBA defines that as anyone named to an all-star or all-NBA team in the last 3 seasons. There are exceptions, though, for some players. Players have to be at least 35 years old and have to have at least played at 1,000 NBA games. LeBron James, therefore, qualifies. Kawhi Leonard, however, does not. But take a moment and understand what the priority is. The priority of this rule change is not for the poor schlep who saved up all his money and wants to take his kid to see the Clippers play and then gets smoked because he just paid top dollar to see Kenyon Martin. No. This priority is for TNT and ABC. But that's a hint. If you're going to go buy Clippers tickets, make sure it's to a Thursday night game because TNT will probably broadcast it and then you'll go get to see Kawhi. The Athletic is reporting that the Houston Rockets are trying to trade former USC point guard Kevin Porter Jr. after his domestic violence arrest earlier this week. Good luck with that, guys. Good luck. Hey guys, you know, he had a career year. He averaged 19 points per game as our starting point guard. Really? Yeah, it's awesome. What about the alleged broken neck on his girlfriend? How are those trade talks going to go? Side note, Porter once got suspended from an intense argument with his former Rockets teammate Christian Wood, who has since joined the Lakers. And doesn't that give you a warm fuzzy right here? Austin Eckler, Joey Bosa, Deion Henley, and Eric Hendricks did not practice Wednesday for the Chargers. Eckler has an ankle issue that will likely be a game-time decision. The other 3 are all dealing with hamstring injuries. Now look, if Eckler and Bosa are out, the Chargers do have replacements, in my opinion. For example, if Bosa's out, USC grad Tui Tuipulotu led the nation in sacks last year. They would plug him in. But linebackers Henry and Hendricks could be more problematic. They will be critical to stopping Derrick Henry and Tennessee's running game, which we'll talk about a little more on Friday Night Chalk Talk. A few weeks ago, we spoke about Lexi Brown of the Sparks, how for reasons unknown, she has not played since June, that she was in and out of the hospital. Now she's talking about why she was only able to play just 12 games this season. And it's pretty tough. It's a bacterial infection that nearly turned septic and required 2 surgeries so far. Brown said she's going to need a 3rd before she can start considering a comeback. Quote, day to day, I'm okay. I can do normal things, but I've been paying all the time and it's just been really difficult. I can't do any type of exercising at all. So that's been one of the hardest parts for me too. My mind and my body are not matching up, unquote. So maybe say a prayer for the lady. Definitely keep a well wish for the lady, for Pete's sakes. British soccer fans and media are ramping up their hatred for Galaxy fans who serenade former Sheffield United striker Billy Sharp by inserting his name into the song Baby Shark. I counted more than 5 articles from the Brits yesterday about how much they hate us. Oh my God, they tweeted, is there anything worse than American soccer fans? Somebody asked. Yes, there is. The British military. By my count, at least 3 times, you guys were way worse than the American soccer fan, than the Galaxy fan. Do you think for a moment, guys, that when Winston Churchill was staring down a genocidal madman that he was like, man, we'd really love the help from the Americans, but I can't stand the way that they chanted footy. Sure, we'd love to help. But can you do a different song, please? Really? That's what they were facing during Annihilation? Hey, Brits, here's a sport. If you don't like the way we chanted soccer, here's a sport you definitely wouldn't like. War. War. Would you like to play war against us for a 3rd time? Would you? I mean, we're allies now. We like you guys. But just remember, never forget who whooped your guys' asses twice. It's not a good idea to piss us off. Otherwise, you'll get blown apart, blown apart, blown apart. For all the hype, is it time to worry about the black and gold, LAFC? They're on a 3-match losing streak. They are literally just 3 points from the 8th spot in the MLS Western Conference playoff spot. 6, by the way, 6 points from 9th, which is the last playoff spot in the MLS Western Conference. And their schedule's not getting any easier. They have an El Tráfico against the Galaxy this weekend, followed by conference-leading St. Louis and then Philadelphia, who they played in MLS Cup last year. Not a good time to be rocking the black and gold, guys. It's a tough water right now. Are you like me? Are you old enough to remember the debut of Prime Ticket? It was in the late 80s. The network was created by Jerry Buss because the Lakers were selling out all their home games. So Jerry Buss is like, well, why don't we just create a TV channel, get some advertising revenue into the coffers? But the thing is, Prime Ticket evolved more into a place to watch Kings hockey, not just Lakers basketball. And I absolutely love that. I bring that up because Prime Ticket became Fox Sports West, which became Bally Sports, and now it's become nothing. Nothing. The Kings have no television deal for the upcoming year, which meant a really good play-by-play guy in Alex Faust was clipped. We still have no idea how to watch Kings hockey this year. None. Lakers first-round pick Jalen Hood-Schifino told The Athletic he's been working diligently since Summer League to improve his three-point shooting. Quote, I've made a lot of progress, being in the gym every day, getting up a lot of reps, working on my footwork, my form, mechanics, and everything. Getting everything sharp. There's definitely been a strong point and something that I've been really attacking every day, unquote. Good for him. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me once again about the state of Dodger pitching. Talk to me about what the Rams are going to do if their primary backup quarterback isn't available. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.